All right. Good afternoon, Simpler family. I hope y'all are having a great day. It is the last day of January. This month went crazy fast, and I am discovering the older I get, the faster time seems to fly. But I hope you've had a good month. Trading has not been the easiest market to trade for sure, a lot of back and forth price action. And for me, I am going to end the month green, which is good. It didn't start out that way. And as all of you know, or if you don't know, I'm here to tell you trading has a lot of ups and a lot of downs. The important thing is that you develop a system that you can trade day in and day out and be consistent with that, developing your plans and knowing what to trade and when to trade it. And that's what I wanted to spend the next 30 minutes with you today talking about is the process that I go through to decide what tickers I'm going to trade. So, there are a couple of different ways that I trade. I don't just day trade and I don't just swing trade, or I don't just leap trade. I do all three. Basically, the process is the same as far as choosing which ticker I want to trade. The thing that is different is obviously the amount of time I intend to be in the trade and the time frame chart that I trade off of. So let's first start with my process around day trading because a lot of people, it's become a very, very popular thing to day trade. And I am no different. I like to day trade as well. So let's talk about how I choose the tickers that I'm going to focus on each morning for potential day trades. All right, I want you to look here on the left hand side at my watch list. You will see that this watch list I call PMZ possibilities. Now, if you're not a member of the Trendy Trading Room here at Simpler Trading, where I trade with Trendy John, then you might not be familiar with what in the heck is a PMZ, another three-letter acronym, right? The PMZ simply stands for pre-market zone. It gives us a box every morning on each ticker as long as there's pre-market action. And the process is very simple. You go long above and short below. So this list of names is comprised of, it really starts here with Apple. I trade from a small cash account, small meaning the balance is less than $25,000. So I trade from a cash account so that I can day trade. The names that you will see on this list of potential trades are names that, number one, are liquid, meaning there is a lot of volume on their options so that I, as well as the people who follow my trades, can get in and out of the trades easily. The second thing is I make sure before putting a name on this list that the option price at the money is affordable for my account size and the amount of money that I allocate towards each trade. So, for an example, let's use Apple. And if I was day trading Apple on a Friday, I'm going to choose the following Friday's expiration. If it's Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I'll choose the first available Friday. But in this case, because it's Friday, I'm going to choose the following Friday. And I want to look what is the price of the option at the money. Can I afford to at least buy two contracts at the money contracts for my allocation? And the answer is yes. I'll give you another example. Let's choose GLD here because I trade that a lot. GLD has multiple uh, expirations, not just Friday expirations. They also have Monday and Wednesday expirations. So if I were day trading GLD today, then I go to Monday's expiration. I look at the money price and is it affordable for my account? If the answer is yes, then it would qualify to make my list. Okay, so I think I have explained that well enough that the list, my watch list, is comprised of names that are liquid as well as names that are affordable for my account size. Now, if you're trading with a larger account and you have a higher risk allocation amount per trade, then you could have names on here like Meta or Microsoft or Adobe, names like that. But you won't see those on my list simply because they're not affordable for my allocation. The next thing that I'm looking for is I want a variety of names on this list. I don't want it to all be tech. I don't want it to all be energy. I don't want it to all be financials. I want a little of all of the different sectors on this list. So you'll see here I have GE on the list, which is an industrial stock. And then, of course, Apple is a tech stock. So I have a variety of types of stocks here on the list. All right, so that's how I comprise my watch list for day trading, and very rarely does this list change. I typically, for day trades, am focusing on these names. Then, when I wake up in the morning, I want to look at first off, what is the ES doing? The S&P 500. Is it green? Is it red? What direction is the momentum in during the overnight hours? If it is green, I look at the percentage that it's up. If it's up 68%, pretending that this is the morning, it's up 68%, then I'm going to look through my list and I want to see the names that are up, that are green, and that are outperforming the ES, okay? I look at names such as Tesla, or Tesla's on this list, but I use TSLL to trade it. So this morning, whenever I woke up and saw that the market was green, so the momentum was to the upside during the overnight session, TSLL was outperforming the overall market. So I chose to focus on TSLL for a potential day trade today. I also chose for today gold, and I chose JPM. Now, JPM has been uh, financials are on fire. So I picked JPM just to watch the price action out of the PMZ. And if it looked like it was going to be another explosive day up, then I would have taken the trade. Turns out JPM's very choppy today. And so I just didn't take the trade. But I was looking for those names that are outperforming. The same would have been true if the ES overnight was bearish, okay? And it was down, so it was red. I would look through my list of names for names that are also down and that are down even further than the overall market, the S&P 500, and then I'm going to choose them with my bias being to the downside. Now, I admittedly tend to trade to the upside. So I am typically looking for green days, green momentum, green trend, bullish everything, and looking to trade the names that are outperforming. But if you are a bear and you prefer shorting the market, then what I would do is if the S&P 500 is green and you see names on here that are red, which CVX would be an example of that. This morning, the overall market was green, but CVX was red. This would been a candidate to short because it is underperforming the market. And you can see here is our PMZ box. And with the rules below the PMZ, that's when you go short. You would have went short CVX here at 153.46. And then I would have had targets on here to the downside that would have given you trades or targets to trade down to. So it doesn't matter if you're looking for trades to the upside or downside. I still use the same process to pick the names that I'm going to focus on. I believe it is much easier to narrow down this list of about 15 names to the 3 to 5 names to focus on. That can uh, keep you from getting into too many trades or getting into no trades because you're constantly flipping through charts. You can use a flexible grid, create a 5 panel flexible grid up here, put each name that you're focusing in on that grid, and then you're looking at all of them at the same time. And whatever strategy that you use to day trade, you can see when they're setting up, and then you take the trade. So I think it's important to narrow down a list to 3 to 5 names that you're looking to day trade just to give you more focus and clarity when going to take those trades. Any questions about how I choose the tickers to focus on for day trading? Yeah, Claudia, SPY on my list. It's right here. But I actually use the ES futures chart to trade SPY. Any other questions about how I choose the names I'm going to focus on for day trading? All right, very good. I must have explained it well enough. All right, next up, I'm going to show you my watch list for swing trades. Now, my swing trade watch list, sorry, Claudia. Claudia asked if I'm day trading SPY, which date do I use? So for SPY, I'm going to choose. I'm I'm not a big fan of 0 DTE on SPY or SPX. I like to buy a little extra time, so I'll choose one day, 1 DTE. But you absolutely, obviously, can do 0 DTE. One thing I would caution though is don't enter or start a new trade right in the middle of the day, so like this time frame. The best times if you're going to trade 0 DTE is the first hour to 2 hours of the market, and then if you like trading that end of day, the last hour of the market. Otherwise, if I'm going to take a trade in the middle of the day like this off of a PMZ, I'm going to give myself at least to the next day's expiration. And that's simply just due to the Greeks and theta decay that occurs as the day wears on. All right. All right. So next up is how do I narrow down the list of tickers that I'm watching if I am swing trading? Obviously, I'm not swing trading off of a 5-minute chart. My favorite is the daily chart, and I trade supply and demand. So this green zone down here equals demand. And I love to buy dips on bullish names and then trade them to the upside to target and hymns. What a beast today. All right, so let me give you an example here. So, how do I choose what names go on the watch list? And this is something that I update each week. All right. What I am looking at and what I am looking for is first off, overall sector performance. You can use several websites, coifin.com. There's some others, SPDRs, ETF. You can use different websites to find the sector performance over the last month or over the last quarter, depending on the time frame you're looking to trade. But I want to focus on the outperforming sectors. And then I know which names are trading in that sector that again are affordable for my account, right? How I trade, and that are liquid. All right. So for this list, I again like to have some variety. So I'm going to pick, the top performing 3 to 5 different sectors. Then I'm going to narrow that down to the names on in the sector that are outperforming. So CVX is one of them. In the overall XLE sector, CVX, this is an earnings. They didn't do well on their earnings report, but overall, I like the price action on CVX after this big drop here, as long as CVX is above that 618. So I measure some fibs and I look and did that golden fib level hold? And so far it did. So CV, hold on one second. Sorry about that. I needed to cough there. So then CVX is still in an uptrend for me. That means it's a buy the dip candidate, and it means that it would remain on my watch list for January swings. So I, again, look at the outperforming sectors and then the outperforming stocks in those sectors to come up with my list. I also have now, if you do not have the trendy script bundle of indicators, you wouldn't have this scan, but the overall market is bullish. So my bias for swing trades is buy the dip in demand. And so I am looking for bullish setups. Okay. That means I can use this scanner that I have, which is called the ACDC Bull Scan, and that's going to pull up a very long list of names. Once I have this very long list of names, and there's other scanners that are free if you do not have the trendy scanners that you can use that are available on TOS just to get you a list like this. But I'm going to show you what I do, which is use this scanner that I purchased over 2 years ago. And I'm going to show you what I am looking for in order for this name to qualify to be on my list. So let's go here to CAR. I have no idea what this is, but I see that it's pulled back today. And I want to check a couple of things. First off, I want to check, and most importantly, how close it is to a demand zone. So I would find my demand zone here, then I would look at where price is at. It's not that far from the demand zone. I can use these edges on my chart as well because the lower edges represent a playing field of demand and the upper edges represent a playing field of supply. So if I intended to be in this trade for 1 week, these yellow edges are what I use for trades for 1 to 2 weeks. So I would be looking to buy the dip here between $90 and $87. And then my target is going to be this upper edge that you see up here, which is near $94 to $95. All right. If it is a good looking setup, then I'm of course going to go to the option chain because I need to know. Oh, it's Avis. Looky there. I need to know, is it affordable and is it liquid? And the answer to that question is no, not in how I trade. The cost of the options do not allow me to buy at least two, and the liquidity, which I'm looking at the open interest, just isn't high enough. So this would not make my list for that reason. Otherwise, the chart looks good, and if you trade spreads or something like that that can get it more affordable, then that's great. So I see Disney is on the ACDC bull scan. So I can look at the option price, I can look at the liquidity, and is it affordable? It is. So I would go to the chart itself and I'm looking for, is price close to a demand zone? So you have an inside and up here. That's a good sign. If price pulled back to 111, I could do a trade there. You can see I also have a lower weekly edge there. So if I was looking to trade Disney for 1 week, I could trade it from about 112 to 1, and I would bring this down because I have an edge so close to about 110.79. So this would be my buy zone. Price is close. Of course, we're in earnings season now, and I don't like to have on a lot of earnings trade. And I can see Disney is reporting the first week of Feb, which is next week. So it probably wouldn't make my list for next week. But in the event that Disney was to pull back on a bad earnings report to this lower monthly edge, this purple edge down here, look, it's a buy the dip opportunity. The trend for the year is bullish. I'm all in for a bullish trend at a demand zone, but I would need to give myself plenty of time for Disney to come back up to my target. So I would just create an alert there, which I have one, and I would know that when that alert goes off, maybe Disney had bad earnings or what have you, and it's come back to my zone that I want to buy. I like to really have good performing names on my list that are affordable for my account size to purchase at least two options contracts and that are, you see this EMA cloud, this is a 9, 22, and 44 EMA cloud. I like it if the price is not below the daily cloud, unless I am going for a longer couple, 2, 3 month type of swing trade and I'm trading it off of a lower a monthly edge or a lower yearly edge, then this daily EMA cloud is not of concern to me because I will just trim as price comes back up to the EMA cloud. But if I'm focusing on swing trades for 1 to 2 weeks, I would like that price is at least above the daily 44 EMA. Okay, so that is how I choose the names that make my watch list for swing trades. Just like for day trades, I like to narrow that list down. So right now, this is a number, and that's probably 25 names on there. Well, I'm not going to spend next week watching 25 different charts. I'm going to narrow my focus down to 6 to 8 because realistically, that's what I can afford in my account, not to be overly exposed to the market. So I'm going to narrow this down to 6 or 8 names, and I want to choose the best setups. The best setups for me as a supply and demand trader are: is it in demand? Is it at least inside or above this EMA cloud? Does it have a lot of room to go before it gets to supply? What is my risk to reward? Is the whatever you use for risk compared to reward. For me, I trade supply and demand zones. So if the zone is $20 wide and my reward or my supply where I would exit the trade is only $10 above, it doesn't have a good enough risk to reward. So of course it wouldn't be narrowed down to my top 6 to 8 name to watch for next week. These are all things that if you do your homework ahead of time and you are choosy and pick the top names according to the strategy that you trade, then either put in your automatic bid at the level that you want to enter the trade, or create an alert at the level that you want to enter the trade, and then take the trade when your alert goes off. That is how I believe you become more consistently profitable in your trading rather than chasing tons and tons and tons of names. Start out with a larger list. Then, if it's day trading, narrow it down to 3 to 5 names each day to focus on. If it's swing trading, narrow it down to 6 to 8 names to focus on for that week. What about leap trading? So for my leap trades, it's a little different. I am looking for quality companies that I believe in, that I believe are going to be around at the end of the year, right? And I am wanting to get them on clearance. Clearance for me is a much larger time frame, such as a quarterly or monthly demand zone. I'm looking for names that Merck, for instance. All right. Merck has quarterly demand right down here. If I get the opportunity to buy Merck at or near 86.72, I would scale into this trade because this is an area that buyers have accumulated and shown up, and we've gotten a nice, big, powerful move from here. I believe if price pulls back here, these buy orders that didn't get filled because of this very large candle are still sitting here and price will go back up. That's why I choose quality companies. I believe Ford will be around at the end of this year. and Ford has pulled back to a quarterly demand zone. So I've actually started a leap position in this name. Targets are these yearly edges, right? It's just a higher time frame target. So at the end of this year, I'm looking for Ford to be up near $14. All right. So it's companies that overall are strong companies, right? And then I know that the chart is going to not look great, but I'm getting them on clearance, and that's how they make my list and eventually in my portfolio. All right. Well, that is how I choose tickers to focus on to trade, whether it is day trading, swing trading, or leap trading. That's my time with y'all. Thank you for joining me here in the Essentials Room at Simpler Trading. If you're not a member of the Trendy Room and want to learn how to trade supply and demand with Trendy John and I, join us in the Trendy Room. I believe there's a $7 trial for 30 days. It's really, we're giving it away. We're in there to educate on trading supply and demand each day. So join us in there if you are not already a member. All right. I look forward to talking to y'all again next week. Have a great weekend. Much love, fam.